What's up, guys? My name is Aaron. Today I'm going to be reviewing Good Time. Good Time is a movie directed by the Safdie brothers and it stars Robert Pattinson. It's basically about this guy who tries to save his brother after a bank robbery goes wrong, and he's trying to evade the law and the police and stuff like that while also trying to save his brother. I was excited for this because I saw the trailer and I thought it looked really cool. I thought that the way that it was shot and everything like that was just really kind of different, and I do think that the trailer really sold me because I haven't seen anything directed by the Safdie brothers. I'm definitely going to check them out after this. I do think that Robert Pattinson is a really good actor. He's really kind of changed the trajectory of his career. Like, he kind of goes for more indie and more kind of important projects now. Like, he kind of goes for something that's a little bit off kilter, kind of like a Shia LaBeouf, and I do appreciate that because it really shows that he's really trying to rehabilitate his career after Twilight. So it really seems really cool that he's trying to go for different things. I do think this is one of the best movies of the year. I think this might be my favorite movie of the year. The only thing I could think of that kind of tops this is maybe The Beguiled, but I think this is definitely my top 2 favorite movies of the year so far. The story is pretty simple. Like, you've seen this type of story before. Like, this guy has to save a loved one by kind of doing some dangerous and kind of unsafe behavior, but I don't think you've seen it like this. I think the filmmakers really had some different variations that kind of made it feel like a different experience that you're kind of used to seeing. There's an added tension to the movie because Connie's brother, Robert Pattinson's character, is mentally handicapped. So when he's going through different things and he's doing different actions and stuff like that, like, there's this whole level of like uneasiness because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, in the opening sequence, because he's mentally handicapped, Connie has to like kind of tell him what to do and stuff like that and try to get him to react quickly and stuff like that. And when he's kind of thrown into jail after that, just seeing him kind of have to be in that situation was really different. Like, I don't think I've seen a movie like that kind of use like a mentally handicapped person in that way, and I think that that was a really different touch, and it kind of adds this whole level of apprehension because you see why Connie is trying to do the things that he's doing. And I also think that Connie is like, he's like a really interesting character. I think that Robert Pattinson really picked a really interesting character to play because Connie really isn't a good guy, and I won't even say he's like a decent guy. He's somebody that the love for his brother is like the only thing that kind of separates him from being like just a terrible human being. He lies, he manipulates, he deceives everybody that's in his way, and he does it for his brother. And I guess that's a good thing because he cares about somebody, but I think that just the things that he does, like, you can tell that he's looking out for himself and just doing the things that he thinks that will help him out. And you really do see that with this movie. Every single choice that he makes as a person is just so weird. Like, everything that can go wrong does go wrong eventually. And that was a really cool, interesting way to do this movie. There's this girl that he meets during his adventure that is kind of a nice twist. I like the surface. She was really tough, but kind of under the surface, you can tell that there's a really vulnerability about the character, and I think that the actress that played her did a really good job. And there's also some social commentary kind of sprinkled into the movie with how her character kind of plays out eventually, and it's really interesting how the filmmakers use that to kind of even highlight how much of a scumbag this dude is. I do like the message of the movie a lot. You might not have the best way or the best method to do it, you'll do anything for family, and I think that message is really conveyed really well throughout this movie. I think the atmosphere of the movie is really outstanding. It felt like the movie Thief by Michael Mann, but on LSD. Like, this movie is just like drenched in neon lights. It's just like oozing with style through every frame of the movie. It really captures New York, like the real gritty side, but it's also really stylish for the way that it films. It really feels like movies like Thief, Dog Day Afternoon, Drive. There's a lot of different movies that you can kind of feel the atmosphere of, and it does feel like a documentary at times, like especially when it focuses on the brother and the girl that he meets throughout the way. It kind of felt like Spring Breakers to me in a way, but it wasn't as music video at times as that movie was. The movie uses like a lot of intense like close-ups and like crash zooms that kind of just focus on like a person's face, and that made it feel more like a documentary and more like real life, I guess. I'm not usually like a huge fan of things like that, but with the way that this movie was done, like how tense and intimate it was, it made it feel all more immersive in the movie, and that was a really nice touch that they had. And I think the score is probably the best score of the year. I do think The Bad Batch is probably the best soundtrack of the year, but I think this is probably the best score. It really has like that late 70s, early 80s like electronic synth heavy vibe, definitely reminiscent of Tangerine Dreams or whatever like that in the 70s. It's really atmospheric and perfect at kind of setting this like mood, like really pulsating and really glitching. I'm a big fan of movies that kind of use that kind of thing to kind of immerse you into the movie, like Punch Drunk Love in certain scenes. This movie really does that. Like, it just like keeps on going and going and going. It puts you in the situation, and it really does it in a really unique way. I could see this kind of throwing off a lot of people because the sound is really loud and really abrasive. At certain times you really can't even hear the dialogue, but I think it works well with the way that they're making the movie. I think the music really does tell the story, and it kind of enhances the story in my opinion. I'd highlight this is probably the best score of the year. Really something I could listen to on its own. And even though the majority of the movie is super tense, I do like there's a lot of natural, really kind of earned humor in the movie, just basically based off these like New Yorkers kind of acting like New Yorkers and really being kind of gruff with each other and stuff like that. It was really funny and kind of surprising how funny it was with how tense the movie was, but I do think the movie needed some type of levity. I just think this movie's vibe is just so good. I could definitely see myself watching this over and over again. And another great thing about this movie is Robert Pattinson's performance. Like, I think this is like an all-timer performance for him. I haven't seen him elevate something so well. Like, he seems so natural. He's just like constantly moving and constantly like his eyes are constantly like darting each way. Like, there's like an uneasy way that he's walking. His accent really feels like he's from New York and stuff like that. You feel like the uneasiness with every single choice that he makes and stuff like that. And it just feels like he just completely vanished into the character. Like, I didn't even see Robert Pattinson throughout this movie. And that's a really good thing that I could say about his performance. I think this is the type of role that deserves some type of recognition, but I don't think it will because of the style of the movie. It's so like indie. Like, I feel like it's going to be like Sasha Lane or Shia LaBeouf in American Honey, where because the movie is so like gritty and stuff like that, I don't think it's going to get any type of love at all. But I do think that his performance is definitely the type that deserves that type of recognition and stuff like that. And I think that he's going to be overlooked. I think this is definitely like a highlight reel type performance for him, and he's very good in this movie. He's very believable in every single action that he does. I didn't really have much problems with this movie. I think that it could have been longer. I really liked it. I think overall I would give this like a 10 out of 10. This is definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. Like I said, this and The Beguiled are kind of fighting each other for that #1 spot, but I really did enjoy this movie. I think this is a really intense movie and really kind of light and funny and just all types of things. Like, this is a really unique experience. If you do get the chance to check this out whenever it comes out, I would definitely check this out. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Good Time. What are you guys' thoughts? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments what you thought, and thanks for watching. Thanks, guys. Bye.